The Whispering Forest. Part 1, The Traveller and the Entrance. Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by soft green hills, there lived a man named Thomas. He was not rich, not famous, and not strong, but he was kind, curious, and always ready to listen. In the village, people often spoke about a strange place not far away. They called it the Whispering Forest. They said that voices lived among the trees, and that no one who entered came back the same. Some villagers whispered that it was haunted. Others believed it was full of magic. Thomas listened to these stories many times. Finally, one morning, he decided to visit the forest. Not because he was brave, but because he wanted to understand. At sunrise, he packed bread, cheese, a blanket, and a small book of poems. He walked for half a day until he reached the edge of the forest. The trees stood tall and close together, their leaves moving gently in the wind. But the sound was not normal. It was softer, almost like words he could nearly understand. "Am I welcome here?" Thomas whispered. The forest sighed in reply. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. The air grew cooler. Sunlight barely touched the ground. Shadows danced between the trees. Sometimes Thomas thought he saw faces in the branches, or figures moving far away. But when he looked again, nothing was there. The whispers grew stronger. Some were kind and gentle, others sounded sharp and angry. "Why did you come?" one voice seemed to ask. "To listen," Thomas replied softly. For a moment, the forest became silent. Then the voices returned, as if satisfied with his answer. Part 2, The Path of Tests. Thomas walked deeper and came to a clearing. In the middle stood an ancient oak. Suddenly, he heard a clear voice in his head. "Traveller, what do you carry in your bag?" Thomas opened his bag. "Bread, cheese, a blanket, and a book of poems," he answered. The tree seemed to laugh softly. "You carry food for the body and food for the soul." "That is wise," Thomas smiled. He felt less alone. Not long after, he reached a quiet river. Its water was so clear that he saw his reflection perfectly. But soon he noticed something strange. He was not only seeing his face, he was watching memories. His childhood, his first friend, his first loss. The river whispered, "Every traveller must carry memories. Some are heavy, some are light." "Do you wish to leave one behind?" Thomas thought carefully. He remembered a day when he hurt a friend with careless words, a memory that still gave him pain. "I will leave this one," he said. The river rippled, and the sad memory disappeared from his reflection. Thomas felt lighter, as if a weight had been taken away. As he walked on, he heard footsteps behind him. A fox with bright amber eyes appeared. "Do not fear me," said the fox. "I will walk with you." No one should cross the forest alone. Thomas welcomed the company. The fox was quiet but watchful. Sometimes it stopped to listen. "What do you hear?" Thomas asked. "The forest tests you," the fox replied. "Listen carefully. Answer honestly. That is the only way forward." Together, they continued, until the path ended at a wide, dark cave. From inside came a slow, heavy whisper. The fox stopped. "You must enter alone. This is the Cave of Truth. Inside, the forest will show you what you fear most." Thomas's hands trembled, but he stepped inside. Shadows covered the walls. He saw himself, old, weak, and forgotten. He saw his kindness wasted, his words unheard, his life empty. His heart ached. He wanted to run. But instead he whispered, "This is my fear. But it is not the end of me." The shadows faded. The cave filled with light. Peace entered his heart. Part 3, The Gift and the Return. When Thomas stepped out, the fox was waiting. The forest whispered more gently now, like friends saying farewell. On the ground lay a single silver leaf, shining in the sunlight. Thomas picked it up. The forest spoke. "You listened. You were honest. You faced your fear. This is our gift. Carry it with you, and you will never walk in silence." He placed the silver leaf carefully inside his book of poems. The way back seemed shorter. At the edge of the forest, the fox stopped. "Will I see you again?" Thomas asked. "Whenever you listen to the whispers inside your heart," the fox replied, and disappeared into the trees. When Thomas returned to his village, people asked what he had found. He only smiled and said, "The forest does not give answers, it gives questions." And sometimes that is enough. From that day on, Thomas was the same man, yet not the same. He was gentler, wiser, and his eyes carried the quiet light of the forest. And when the wind moved through the hills, villagers swore they heard whispers, soft, patient, and full of secrets. Entered his heart.